Coaching is about asking questions. So if you're in a situation, you've got a team, doesn't matter if it's business or sport, and you tell, which could lead to yell, that is not coaching. If you're in a situation where you're asking questions and somebody's getting the answers that you need to deliver and they're learning, that is probably coaching. So the key starting point is always asking questions. An obvious challenge to that can be, well, what if they're on the wrong path? Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to ask a question, they don't know the answer, and then you give them the answer, because then you're telling again. So what do we do to stay on track with coaching? Well, I like to use something called guided discovery, and it's basically giving a little nudge when you need to. So you ask a question. If they're struggling with finding the answer, can you give them a little nudge to get on the right path, to find then the answers themselves? So you might say, what would you do if? And then you give them a little scenario, and how would I then, and you follow up the context of the situation. Can you give me then an example about that? I'm just asking questions, but I'm guiding the person or the team, and I'm influencing them to think about a solution. So you can always come up with an answer by asking questions. And I think that's the key point. We want to develop decision makers, not robots. Okay, so training is very much different from coaching. So what are you doing to support independent thinking? And it comes back to the questions, doesn't it? Because are you supporting independent thinking by telling? And there's going to be scenarios where there's going to be more influence in coaching dependent, cup final versus a standard training afternoon, morning. They're very different coaching scenarios. But on this grand scheme of what coaching is, it's about asking questions. As a coach, it's your responsibility, in the simple Q&A, the question and answer sort of line, your job's to give questions. It's not to give answers. It's their job to give answers. It's the player's job. It's the team's job to give the answers. But how are you helping as a coach to help them find that right track, to find the answers? And the final real simple point is process over results, but results do matter. So are we on the right development pathway to get results? But you can't get results like a light switch. You cannot get instant fixes without constant short-term sort of fixation on results. And sometimes as a coach, cup final, the last sort of moments, and it's a 2-2 draw, you're going to do things to influence trying to get a result. But when we're talking about coaching in general, not the way to go. Improvement focuses on the longer term, whereas the shorter term kind of is the here and now, isn't about that longer term development. How do we balance results and development? I'm just interested to know, what is your sort of thoughts on coaching? How do you coach? Do you ask questions? Do you ask enough? Do you tell? Is there a point where you feel like you cannot ask questions and you need to show something else? I'd be interested to know what that looks like, because there are different scenarios. There are different sort of stress points, different pivot points, whether it's coaching, sport, working in business, doesn't matter, where we have to influence different styles. But then we're going away from coaching and we're perhaps looking at something else, aren't we? From the training and the management perspective, but specifically coaching, and what is coaching? I'm interested to know what your thoughts are on what it looks like. What does good look like? Are you asking a lot of questions, or are you in a situation where you feel like, actually, if I take a step back, I'm telling them a little bit too much? So it's kind of understanding, what does a good session look like, but what is coaching in that session for you? Be keen to know, drop a comment in there, ask any questions, and we'll pick things up. And following on from this, the next video we're going to do is how to coach. So we're going to talk about a few things following on from what is coaching. And then after that, give you a scenario of a sports session and what that could look like as well. So let me know what you think, and we'll see you soon.